Hi, everyone, and welcome to Use YouTube to Grow Your Business. We'll be starting in just a few minutes. Thanks for joining us. Hi, everyone, and welcome to Use YouTube to Grow Your Business. We're just 2 minutes away from starting. Glad to have you. We'll be right back. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Use YouTube to Grow Your Business. Happy to see so many people joining. We're about 1 minute away from starting. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back soon to begin the program. Hi, everyone. We've got quite a few people logging on, so we'll get started in just a few minutes. Welcome to Use YouTube to Grow Your Business. We'll be back in just a few seconds to start today's program. Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. It's just 1 minute after 12 o'clock, and even though we've got a few people still logging on, we will get started. And welcome to Use YouTube to Grow Your Business. My name is Matt Weber, and I'm one of the trainers for the Grow with Google program. I'm really excited to be here today, joining all of you Grow with Google partners who are providing such an important service right now. Just a little bit about me. I've been working in digital marketing for over a decade, but I'm really excited about this particular program because I grew up professionally in the television business. And I've written and produced over 100 television commercials and promotional announcements. So I've always had a passion for video and always saw the persuasive power of video. And today we're going to talk about how to combine that with the unique attributes of YouTube. I've always felt that YouTube was one of the more underappreciated digital channels by businesses. And if you look at some of these statistics, you can see why. YouTube has over 2 billion monthly logged in users. And those users watch a billion hours of video per day. Now we toss that number, a billion, around a little cavalierly sometimes. Do you know how old you would be if you lived to be a billion hours old? You would be 114,000 years old if you lived to be a billion hours old. So that's a lot of video content. And let me add one more just to crystallize this for business owners. YouTube reaches 91% of all the online population in the United States of America. 91%. If you think back to when marketers originally coined the term mass media back in the 60s and 70s, they were talking about a world that rarely reached 70%, and those were only for extraordinary special events like the Super Bowl or for the Academy Awards. But every month, YouTube reaches 91% of American consumers. So the takeaway here is to remember something that my grandfather used to say: fish where the fish are, right? YouTube brings you connected to consumers. But it isn't just the fact that they're watching that makes YouTube a very special medium. If you think back to how we used to consume video on television, we were passive. In fact, sociologists coined a term called least objectionable programming to describe how we chose what we watched in the days of network and local television. We didn't choose what we wanted, we chose what was least objectionable. Now, today on YouTube, we have an entirely different use of video. Here with YouTube, people reach out, they select, they choose, they watch what they want to watch, they're engaged. In fact, 68% of YouTube users say they've watched YouTube to help make a purchase decision. So now we've got a powerful medium that reaches a lot of people and doesn't just reach them, but keeps them engaged and active in what they do. So we've got a medium that reaches 91% of the US population and a medium in which people choose what they want, offering a higher level of concentration and a higher level of engagement. Now, before we get into the nuts and bolts of how to use YouTube, I want to provide a little bit of context by showing what a typical consumer journey might be. Because I think as businesses, we tend to oversimplify it. We tend to think consumer looks at ad, clicks on ad, goes to website, does the thing that we want them to do, and the world is good. But actually what we're finding is that the journey is more complicated and gets more complicated every day. So imagine you are shopping for a car. If you've done this recently, I'm going to guess that the first thing you did was not to just drive down to the dealership. I assume that wasn't your first step. If you're like a lot of people, maybe as you're in that mode of thinking about buying a new car, you're watching your videos on YouTube and you watched a bumper ad. And we're going to talk about bumper ads coming up, but they're short ads just promoting a brand. And that triggered maybe a Google search for that brand name, in this case, Sunnyvale Motors. You went to the dealership's website, you looked around, you looked at what's available, and when you did that, a cookie was stored on the device that you used. So when you went back to YouTube and watched more videos, you got advertisements again for that dealership that probably this time were more specific to what you looked for on that website, which then motivated you to go back to the dealership website, and this time you were motivated to schedule a test drive, and then you purchased it. So what you see on the screen may have taken 45 to 60 days, but you can see it's a multi-step journey. So having a medium like YouTube where people are engaged and committed to what they watch helps to connect people along that very complicated journey. So let's take these two things, a very powerful medium and engaged and connected users, and drive home some sales for you as businesses. And here's how we're going to do it. Today, we're going to talk about how to create a home for your business on YouTube. Then we'll talk about creating the videos themselves. Then we'll talk about organizing your channel to attract viewers. We'll talk about promoting your business with video. We'll talk about how to stream video with YouTube Live, and we'll finish by adding some resources where if you want to continue the learning that we're presenting today, that you can follow up with some additional learning. So let's begin, of course, at the very start, how to create a home for your business on YouTube. Now, if you're not logged in to a Google account on your browser, you can go to youtube.com, and it should look pretty much what you see on the screen with a sign in button. Now, if you are logged in to a Google account on your browser, it's going to automatically log you in, and it's going to look like that, at which point you can create a channel. Now, one asterisk here, remember, you do need a Google account. Any email address can be a Google account, but a Gmail address is automatically a Google account. So once you either create your YouTube account or you're logged in because you're already logged in with a Google account, you'll have the option to create a channel. It'll ask you whether you're doing it for yourself or for your business. And then you can see on the right-hand side that you'll have the option to either choose a custom name, which most businesses will do, and I recommend that, or it will default to whatever your username is on the account where you're logged in. So business, definitely recommend that you create a custom name that matches your brand name, or in a rare case, if you've got a particular product that you're highlighting with your channel, maybe you use the product name as the name of your channel. But most businesses are going to name it consistent with their business name. Now, by the way, if you do the steps that I've just discussed and you don't see what's on the screen, it probably means that somewhere along the line, maybe you've created an account channel with this address that you've logged in, and maybe you've forgotten about it. And if that's the case, you just go to youtube.com/channel_switcher. Now, once you're there, you can upload a profile picture for your channel, and I'm going to recommend for just about every business, that's probably going to be your logo. Again, if you're emphasizing maybe a particular product with this channel, or maybe you have a particular location that you're advertising this channel, maybe it's a little bit different. But for 8 out of 10 of you that are listening to the program today, that's likely going to be your logo. And this is what's going to appear next to your videos as people watch your videos on your channel. And then as you're creating your channel, you get to write a description. Now, this is not a lot unlike what you've done for your Google My Business profile, but there is one key difference. There's some selling language here. And this description should be in the context, of course, of your channel and a little bit less about your business. For example, in this channel, you'll be able to see videos that every month we're going to show you videos that sell through the channel, not primarily the business. So this is a good selling opportunity to convince someone why they might subscribe to your channel. Now you can add your business website, and you should, and you can add all of the popular social links as well to your channel. Now a lot of businesses stop right there, but there's way more that you can do, so I'm glad that we have the chance to go over it today. For example, you can add what's called channel art. And for a lot of people, this might be like the hero image on your website, or it might be similar to an image that you put on other social media profiles. It should not only convey the business, but convey what are the videos going to be about. So if, for example, you have yourself or certain people that are always in the videos, they should be featured in this channel art. It's a great opportunity to give the channel a little bit of an identity and also help communicate what some of your videos are about. Now, you also have the ability here to create what are called sections. And these sections are only visible when someone is looking at your channel, the main page of your channel. They're not going to be visible if someone's watching your video. So think of these sections like additional shelves at the grocery store. You're just adding another shelf of product. They're different from playlists in that playlists affect what video shows up next in the queue, whereas sections don't. Sections are just a merchandising opportunity where you can put a grouping of videos, and again, they only appear in your YouTube channel main page. You also have the ability to put in a trailer, and I think this is often underutilized by businesses. What most businesses will do is they'll put in their first video or maybe their last video here. But this should be a 30-second, 45-second, 60-second commercial for your channel, selling it through. Why should I commit my time to your channel? So it should be custom created just for this purpose. And I would say that maybe 75 to 80% of the businesses that I work with, they've simply defaulted and either put the first video or the last video there. And I think they're punting on some valuable digital real estate. So give some thought. What would you say to someone to convince them to maybe not only subscribe to your video, but to share it with other people? What's in it for them? And use this powerful 30, 45, 60-second opportunity to sell that through in your channel trailer. And again, the channel trailer is only visible on your homepage. It does not get distributed in search results, and it does not get distributed in a feed if someone subscribed to your videos. All right. So we've created a solid home for your videos. Now, let's talk about creating videos that will help achieve your business goals. I mentioned at the beginning of the program that I grew up in the television business, and I've got a pretty good reel of commercials and promotional announcements. And it wasn't uncommon in the late 90s and early thousands that you would need about $100,000 worth of gear to make even the most simple television commercial. We would bring out a camera that was worth $35,000. We would bring out a lighting kit that was worth $10,000. We would bring out an audio kit that was worth $5,000 to $10,000, and all of that was going to be edited on editing gear that could cost anywhere from $40,000 to $70,000. And now every bit of that's been replaced with what's either in your pocket right now or right in front of you, your phone. Yeah, so I want to first address this technological barrier that maybe you as a business has, that you can't do great videos because you don't have the equipment. Today, it's no longer the case. There are hundreds of thousands incredibly successful business videos on YouTube that were shot and edited with 100% solely a phone. So you do have right now, you have every piece of technology and equipment you need to produce a great video. Now, as we go through today, I'm going to talk about a few others that you might want to complement that with, but you do today, right now, have everything you need to create a fantastic video on YouTube. Now, I'm going to say something here that you're probably going to disagree with. And I'm going to tell you that based on my experience, that clarity will beat cleverness 80% of the time. And that's worth writing down. Clarity will beat cleverness 80% of the time. And why do I think you're going to disagree with that? Because I think that many people, when they think of the word YouTube, think of the incredible cat playing the piano videos, or the video of the guy who made the basketball shot by bouncing the ball off a wall and through his car door and off his dog and into the basket. Yes, those happen. Those are phenomenal videos. But for businesses, when we want to convince someone to do something, we are probably more likely to succeed with something that's been planned and something that has clarity. These lightning in a bottle videos that we're all very familiar with and that we all share are definitely on YouTube, and they bring a lot of enjoyment. But when you peel back YouTube and you begin to understand it as a business tool, you see that's not the common occurrence for business videos. So a couple basic starting points here when you're beginning the development of your business video. The first is you should have an objective, or what's the story that you want to tell? And I want to ask you to consider that you should be able to complete this sentence. At the end of my video, the viewer should be able to, and fill in that blank. Why are you doing this video? What is the end action that you're trying to create? And I'm a big believer in, if you don't know the target, the weapon really doesn't matter. So that's the starting point. What are we trying to achieve? What's our goal of this video? And then second, might be time to have a little bit of an open and honest conversation with yourself if you're the business owner in this case. Who should star in your video? And I ask that question because even though you could star in your video, it doesn't mean maybe that you should. Now, I've produced a lot of videos in my life, and my own personal record for working with a talent is 73 takes, and that's not fun for everybody. Now, you might not even need a human being in your video. It might be a fantastic screen share where you're trying to show somebody something on a computer. Maybe your hands are the star of your video. I will tell you this, in working with a lot of businesses, sometimes the people who make the best video stars for businesses are the people on the front lines, the people who have the most contact with consumers, those directly involved in the selling process. So give that some thought. Just keep open the possibilities of who, or in some cases, what should star in your video. And after you've trapped that, how can you best capture the sights and sounds of this video? And I'll ask you to make an important note. The more control you have over the environment where you produce your video, the easier it's going to be to produce the video. The more control you have over the environment, the easier this is. So the minute you walk outdoors, and I'm not saying that shouldn't be the case, but the minute you walk outdoors, you lose a lot of control over ambient sound and people in the background, etc. Again, not that that shouldn't be that way, but just want to address, how does this get complicated easily? So if it can be shot indoors, you've got a lot more things in your control. And if it's an environment where you control the phones and you control people walking by, all the better. So when you look at what you're trying to achieve, what's the best place with that at your disposal to actually shoot your video? And then lastly, what's the best way to edit it? Now, your phone, your Android operating system comes with a great video editing software. iPhones come with an video editing software. And there are literally dozens of them online. And they are as simple as drag and drop in many, many cases. They're super simple. But I want to make sure that you know for sure that you can shoot it on a phone and you can edit it on a phone. Everything you really absolutely essentially need is in your hand or in your pocket right now. Remember that I mentioned that really good business videos start with a plan, and even more specifically, they start with a script. Yes, it's really worth writing this out. And it really does start with something clear and concise. And again, I'll ask you to remember that clarity will beat cleverness 80% of the time. And one of the things you really want to plan around is that first 15 seconds. In fact, I always encourage people, when you're thinking about your script or really any kind of sales copy, imagine somebody who's just turned their back to you and they're walking away. What would you say to them to get them to turn around and stop and pay attention to you? Sometimes we write to the interested, and sometimes we have to write to the uninterested to create something that is attention getting, to be able to pay them attention for those first few seconds. So think about the disinterested for just a few seconds as you're writing that intro. How do you capture their attention? What are you going to say that's so bold, so provocative, so attention getting that they watch your video? And those first few seconds are just crucial. And then a lot of people, when they're writing their script, they kind of forget that it's a business video, and we do at the end of the day want someone to do something, whether that's visit the website, take advantage of a promotional offer, download a catalog, fill out a quote form. What is the end goal, or what we would call a call to action in your script? Now, I would ask you to consider that in any business video on YouTube, a call to action is always subscribe to this channel and leave your thoughts about this video or what you would like to see in the future in the comments below. That's probably going to be in everything you write. But in addition to that, it's, hey, visit our website today for the latest promotional offers on. What are we trying to get people to do? And then finally, be very focused on what you said the objective was. It's easy in videos to drift. It's easy to start ad-libbing, but focus will pay off in a good business video. Make sure from top to bottom, you're staying tuned in to what your objective is. In fact, there's something that you probably learned in high school or college that's worth repeating right here. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you've just told them. Right? The basic principles of any good speech or any good video presentation, they're all the same. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you've just told them. So make sure you stay true to the mission of the video. Now let's go just a little bit deeper on this, and let's talk about that space. When we think about space and video production, we use a term called dressing the space, and you've probably heard that term. And dressing the space, you're seeing it now during the coronavirus as we're watching more anchors and actors and actresses from their homes. If you look in the background, you can see that somebody has by design put things in a particular place. They probably weren't in that nice, neat order every day of their lives until they found out that they have to put a camera in front of themselves. So think about dressing the space, getting rid of the clutter. Look for cords that may not need to be there, or objects on your desk that don't need to be there. Think about it visually. And also think about how can you present your logo cleverly. And you see some really good examples of this on YouTube, whether that's someone wearing a shirt or a hat, or something in the background that's very inexpensive to produce. For $20 or $30, you can have a piece of cardboard on a stand with your logo on it. Very, very inexpensive. And a tip that I would recommend here is to record some video of the space without you in it or without the talent in it, to look at it as the camera sees it and not look at it as you do. So think about dressing the space. We don't want the viewer of the video to be thinking about anything other than what's delivering the message. Now, lighting can be pretty easy, especially if you're using natural light. Make sure that you face your light source. Now, if you're shooting inside, remember that the light is typically coming from above you, and light from above you isn't as complementary as light that's coming directly at you. So a relatively inexpensive addition to add to your equipment is what's called a ring light or a circle light. And they run anywhere from $29.99 all the way up to $100. And they're just LED lights in the shape of a circle. In fact, you're probably seeing them now in the reflections of people's glasses as you're seeing more talent, network talent, and television talent use them. And they just clip onto a desk. In fact, many of them have a little clip where you can put your phone in there as well. So your phone, your recording source, in this case, the camera and the light, are all coming from the same direction. And many of these ring or circle lights allow you to change the color of the light to match your complexion. If you've watched video production, then maybe you've seen someone who might be the director or the lighting director. He waves his hand very closely in front of the light source. And what he or she is trying to do is to look for shadows, because your eyes may not be great. They adjust very quickly. So shadows don't jump out as quick to your eyes. So when you change the composition of the light, simply by putting your hand across the light, those shadows will become a little bit clearer to you. And same tip here, by the way, just record a couple seconds of this video with you in the place that you should be, not trying to do the presentation, but record 20 to 30 seconds of just you in the place with what you think your lighting is set to be correctly, and then play it back and see what the camera sees. Because remember, the camera usually sees something different than you do. So that's a great way to look for shadows too, and to make sure that your light is balanced. It doesn't have to be very complicated. And then finally, sound. Your phone has what's called an omnidirectional microphone. It's trying to pick up sound from 360 degrees. So for not a lot of money, you can buy a relatively inexpensive directional microphone, and it will connect to the jack of your phone, regardless of what phone that you have, they're out there. And that way it makes the sound a little bit clearer. And by the way, it's not essential. Your phone's got a terrific microphone. So as long as you control the space, remember we talked about controlling earlier, as long as you control the space and you're able to control the ambient noise, that's going to work really great. But if you're in a space that's challenging to control the ambient noise, then getting a directional microphone is going to help the quality of your production. Now, you all know that many statistics have shown over and over again that 70 to 80% of the communication we receive somebody is nonverbal. And you know how important intonation is. And you know that you can actually feel somebody smile just by how they use their words. So speak confidently, speak happily. And if you can't get excited about your product or service, how can you expect the listeners to be? So project that confidence and that belief and that happiness in your product or service when you're delivering your presentation, if you're the one doing that. All right, you got a great video now. Now we're going to talk about how to organize your channel to attract viewers. And just as a quick recap here, remember we've got these really powerful elements already on our channel based on what we've already learned. We've got our channel art, and you can see that in this case, the channel art shows the different things that are included in the videos. It's making it look visually very interesting. We've got that trailer, which explains why we should subscribe to this channel, why we should pay attention. There's a description specifically for this channel here. And then we can group the videos by playlist. Now, depending on your particular business, maybe it's grouped by product, maybe it's grouped by service. It might even be grouped by chronologically. Some people will just do, here's our May specials and here's our June specials. So think about a grouping that helps the videos make sense to the viewers. Now, once you're kind of planned that out, it's really easy to get your video up into YouTube. You're just going to click on the create button. It's going to give you the option to upload a video, select a file, which you do probably in many, many other applications. The process is exactly the same. And you grab that video and you upload it. And once that video is there, again, you've got some opportunities to help communicate what it is to people thinking about watching it. So of course you want to give it a title. And a couple pro tips here. If there's a user benefit in that title, all the better. You're always trying to answer the question, what's in it for me? And in this case, the me is the user, the viewer. What's in it for them? And another pro tip is, yeah, we got to talk a little bit about search engine optimization here. The more the keywords, the words that people might use to look for it are in the title, the better. And here's a tough transition for business owners, because business owners often don't use the same terminology that consumers do. And what's really important here is to talk like consumers do and not talk in the way that you might be most accustomed to presenting your products or services. So think about the words that customers use. And then you get to give this video a description, and we're going to apply some of the same principles that we've already talked about. What's in it for the viewer? Why should they watch? Make it exciting. Give me a benefit for me at the end of this. And of course, use those same SEO keywords that people use that they might use in Google to search for this kind of content. Remember, you can put the words how to in front of almost any subject, and you're going to find a video about it on YouTube. In fact, a great way to find out what videos are working in your category is to do that search, do that how to, and fill in the blank for your product or your service, and see what your competitors are doing and see what words they're using and see what kind of content they're creating. Somebody has already paved these roads for you, and you might as well take advantage of their work. Now, what YouTube's going to do when you upload the video is it's going to choose 3 thumbnails for you. If you don't like any of those, you can upload a thumbnail image. And the thumbnail image, by the way, is the static image that will show when the video has not been clicked on yet. It's that static image. So YouTube will find 3 of them. And if you don't like any of them, you can create one. And creating custom thumbnails is relatively common now with business YouTube videos. If you've already created your playlist, you'll have the option here is to choose which playlist the video is on. And then we have an important decision to make about the audience. And if you are marketing to children, there are a lot of regulations that protect children, both on the government side and some really terrific policies that YouTube has to protect children. And at this point, you maybe, if you're marketing specifically to children, you may want to get professional guidance. But if you're not marketing to children, then no worries. Just make sure that you indicate that when you upload that video. The thumbnails at the beginning of the video, something called an end screen, is obviously at the end. You'll wonder why they didn't call the thumbnail the beginning screen if they call the end screen the end screen. But you can design an end screen, and one of the advantages of designing your own end screen is that you can use the same end screen for all of your videos. So if your videos want to, what we would call tag out with your website address, the brand, and a clickable element that maybe has taking people to your offer page, you can do that. So you're going to create this end screen potentially in a separate program and then upload it here. And then unless you tell YouTube differently, it's going to attach this end screen to each of the videos. Really powerful technique. Great for branding and great for consistency. Now I want to talk about cards. This is a little bit of an advanced technique, and not a lot of people use them. These cards can be polls, they can be clickable elements, they can be surveys. And if this is not familiar to you, it's again because people don't use them. But what is going to happen is that you can insert this card at a particular point in your video. So if you wanted this to happen at 2 minutes into it or 4 minutes, that's completely on your discretion. And when it comes up, it'll come up first with that little eye that you see on the screen, and then whatever title you've given this card. For example, survey about new product. If you've given it that title, then that's what's going to appear at the top of the screen, a little bit to the right-hand side, and about the right 25% of the screen, clearly in the upper quadrant, kind of small, won't cover a lot of the content. And then that becomes now a clickable element. And if the user clicks on that, then it will expand and they'll have the opportunity to engage with whatever you've put in that card. Here's a really common use of it. Let's say you're a store that sells fashion and you are showing some of the new fashions that have come into your store. You can create a card that says, buy this outfit. And at the time in your video that the outfit appears on the screen, this eye will come up. The language buy this outfit, if that's what you've called that card, will come up. And when the user engages with it, it can be a link to the place on your website where they can buy that outfit. So it's a great way to connect the content of your video with other digital assets that you have on the internet. And I'm glad you're joining us today because you're learning about this. You'll be able to use them. And I would say 70 to 80% of the businesses that use YouTube aren't using this particular technique. Now, once you've got all this set, you can determine different levels of audience who want to see this. You can use something called Premiere. And Premiere is if you want the video, you upload it, and then you say, well, I'm going to hold a premiere for this video on June 1st at 8 p.m. It'll create kind of a landing page for just that video. And then you can use that landing page to promote the premiere of that video through your other outlets, email, social media, etc. If you don't want to use that premiere, you can just choose public and the video will be active as soon as you upload it. If you choose unlisted, that means that it won't show up in search results. Anybody that has the link can see the video, but it will never show up in a search result. And private means you are in complete control of who sees the video. So just a couple seconds on how people are using that private feature. There's a lot of companies that are using that private feature for their own internal training, and particularly more so during these times that we're in now. So you can have a YouTube channel that is completely devoted to your own internal efforts and a separate one that's devoted to your external efforts as well. Now, if you don't choose the bottom button in the below schedule, the video will become public as soon as you upload it. Or if you want to delay it for any reason, you can do that and you can create a custom schedule. And so a lot of people do that. They'll create a series of videos. And so video number one will say, so come back next week and tune in when we do blank. And that second video has already been created, it's already been uploaded, but it's been scheduled to show up a week later. So you can do all this work all at one time. And once the video is published, you can share it on all of the main social media channels, just like you do your other content. And YouTube will give you what's called an embed link so that that video is embedded into the content of those social media channels. And once you've got your channel, use all of your other digital assets to make sure that you're promoting your YouTube channel. And that includes your social media, your website, your email, your blogs. All of that can push people to your YouTube channel as it becomes the center of your video activity. You get some great data with YouTube as you do with all of the Google products. You'll see how many people have viewed it. You'll see the total watch time. You'll see your subscribers. And I would encourage you to look at this on a per video basis because you get this data in real time. And all of us, we're going to produce some videos that are a hit, and all of us, we're going to produce some videos that maybe don't do as well. And that's okay, as long as we learn from it, because maybe we introduced something new in this video, it was a new talent, or we shot this one at a different location and it didn't do as well. We can see that in our data. So this helps us figure out what's working and what's not working, and we do more of what's working and less of what's not working. So YouTube channel is a fantastic marketing platform. Fantastic. Remember, that Google is the #1 search engine in the world. And a lot of people don't know that YouTube is the second most widely used search engine in the world. So just having your video channel is going to bring benefit. But you can add to that and you can extend that benefit just a little bit more. And let's take a look how. Pretty great ad. And I hope you heard that presentation. I hope you heard the audio for that. But the YouTube ads are really easy to do. And one thing about that ad that I wanted to make sure that you saw is that very simple shooting. Everything was done with natural light. But one of the things that they did do is they made sure they changed the height levels, right? So instead of the camera always being at the level of a human, they changed the height of the shot and got it down to the level of the dogs, which created some of that visual interest. So to create an ad just like that and to use that type of vehicle to promote your business, you're going to start at youtube.com/ads. Now, one of the great things about YouTube ads is, remember, we've got that engagement factor that we talked about at the beginning of the program, that on YouTube, people are more engaged and connected with the content that they're watching. They're not watching passively. They chose that particular content. And on YouTube, you do have the option, which we're going to explore in just a few seconds, to only pay when people watch your video. So there's 5 types of ads to make note of on YouTube. One, the one that you're probably seen the most, is the in-stream ads that run before, during, or after other videos on YouTube. Now, these same ads can also run on the display network. That's a part of Google Ads, which is a series of websites that have agreed to let Google sell advertisements on them, and in games or in apps. So these ads can run on YouTube videos that are embedded in other websites. They can, the user can skip the ad after 5 seconds. You've probably seen that. So they have just an enormous reach potential, and those are called in-stream ads. Video discovery ads appear on YouTube only, and they're seen in places where people discover content. So particularly when people go to YouTube and they use the search bar that you see on your screen, those are called video discovery ads. Outstream ads are ads that show on partner websites and not on YouTube. These ads are also available on mobile devices and tablets. So again, those partner websites, websites that have enlisted Google's help in selling their ad inventory. Non-skippable in-stream ads, as kind of the name suggests, means that viewers can't skip the ad. And then last, and we'll talk a little bit more about these, are bumper ads. And bumper ads are just 6 seconds long. And you may be saying to yourself, well, can you really do anything in 6 seconds? Yes, you can actually. But the reason there's so many different ad formats is because there's formats for all attention spans. And as you've been on YouTube, you've been on there for different reasons at different times of the day for different purposes. And so there are ads that are bite-sized, these bumper ads that are 6 seconds. There are ads that are snack size, 15 to 20 seconds, and longer format ads for longer, more informative content. Now, the bumper ads may seem short, but statistics show that they can drive a significant lift in ad recall. In fact, it's reported to improve ad recall by 38%. So if your goal is simply to get more people to be aware of your brand name, more people to be aware of your website, these bumper ads are a very cost-efficient way to do that. You can also run them in combination with other ad types to lower your overall cost per thousand. So bumper ads, super simple to do and very easy to work with. TrueView ads are the ones that you only pay if the viewer watches 30 seconds or to the end of the ad. Now think about that for just a minute. Imagine if you go to any one of the networks or your local television station and say, well, I want to run a television commercial, but I only want to pay for it if I'm 100% sure they're watching and paying attention. I don't think that conversation is going to go over very well. But here on YouTube, that's the benefit that you have as an advertiser. You only pay if the person stays to the end. So you might ask yourself, how often does that happen? Quite often. And why? Because you are putting content in front of people that you know are interested in that subject matter, and they are engaged and connected consumers to begin with. So what a great way to make sure you have very little waste in your advertising dollars. Now, when you use the in-stream ads, you also get this bonus opportunity to put in a companion banner, and you see that on the right-hand side of your screen in green. And it's a banner ad that stays on the screen for as long as the user's watching the video. And here's the great part. If they decide to skip the ad, your banner ad stays with them, even if they skip the ad. Now you upload this as a separate piece of artwork. If you don't upload this as a separate piece of artwork, YouTube will create one for you based on some of the other assets you've provided in your YouTube channel. But why ever forego great free digital real estate? So pro tip, definitely make sure you've created a custom companion banner and upload that separately when you put in your in-stream ads. Our last two subjects of the presentation, and that's good because I think we're right on time, and that's how to stream video with YouTube Live, and then we'll talk about some great resources that are available to you to continue today's learning. With YouTube Live, you can reach and interact with people exactly as it sounds, in real time. And your search stream may appear in YouTube search results, and that's a key point because people are becoming increasingly aware of and interested in what's happening right now and things that are current. And you can imagine in today's environment how true that is. So to be centered in the now and have a video that's speaking to people what's going on right now can be immensely popular. So you can do live events, you can do expert interviews, you can do FAQ sessions with people, or if you've got new product demos or new fashions that you're putting into your store. I have a client that's in the science fiction collectible business, and some of the collectibles come out at particular times, and all of his loyal customers are aware that when these particular collectibles comes out. So he times a live event video to coincide when some of these products come out. And it's very, very effective for them because people want to be the first to see this new thing. And I have another client that does the same thing with games. Games are on a very particular schedule. So whenever a new gaming device or a new game comes out, she schedules a live event to coincide with that gaming announcement. So depending on your business, they can be pretty powerful. Now, before you do this, though, you do have to enable live streaming in your channel at least 24 hours in advance. And to do a live stream, you're going to go to studio.youtube.com and you're going to click on Go Live. If you don't see that button there when you take these steps, it's going to mean that you have not enabled live streaming. Remember that you have to do that at least 24 hours in advance. And once you do it once, you don't have to do it again. So once you click on that icon, you can either hook your camera right up to it. There's no more need for what was called encoding not that long ago, right? And encoding was a piece of software that had to transfer the output of a camera into something that could be broadcast on the internet. That step's gone. It's that simple. You just connect your camera in the same way that you would to connect to upload a video, and you can actually go live just with that one simple device. Give the video stream a name, and again, we're going to go back to those SEO hints. Use a name that people look for, use a name that people might type into a search engine. Adjust those audience settings for kids. Remember, if you're marketing to kids, you've got some special restrictions and special regulations that you want to deal with, and you may want to have professional consultation if you're marketing specifically to children. If you're not, just let YouTube know that by clicking the button that it's not made for kids, and that is the default. So smile for your thumbnail and then get ready to go live. It's that simple. Now, of course, there is some homework to do beforehand. You do want to test your setup. You want to pre-schedule your live stream because that gives you the ability to pre-promote it. So you create the live stream and then you tell YouTube what time that you're going to have it. You have that, and then use your social media, your email, and your other digital assets to promote it. Remember to give it a description. People will look for it. Choose a good thumbnail image. And of course, at the end, you can announce that you're going to take questions like we are today in just a few minutes. Feature your event on your channel, and it's a good thing to give some opening context to your live stream and also close. Back to that basic rule of thumb. Tell them what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you've just told them. And stay on track, right? Even though you don't have a script, it's easy to stray. So be more focused to what your objective is when you're doing live presentations, even when you're doing more so than when you're doing pre-recorded. Try to answer audience questions, and you can create a highlight clips reel while you're going live, all within the same piece of technology. Now you can have a separate playlist, by the way, for all of your archives for your live streams, and people love that. They absolutely will go back in time to do that. And when people are referencing product knowledge elements, for example, direct them to your archives, because maybe you created a detailed live stream about a particular product, either what's called an unboxing video where you show people what's in it, or a how-to video. And when people ask the same question over and over again, and you know what happens, you can direct them back to your archive playlist on your YouTube channel to get a very thorough answer to that question. Now we're wrapping up, and I hope you've gotten as much out of this presentation as we've put into it. But here's some great resources to follow up on some of the things we've talked about today. YouTube does have partners that have been certified and trained in creating videos. So whether you are starting from scratch, or maybe you've got some videos in the can and you want to repurpose and polish them up a little bit, you can go to youtube.com/ads/making a-video-ad. And there's a list of trusted and certified partners that can help you with some of the things today. Now, remember, all of this you can do yourself. But if you do need some professional consultation or assistance, it's available to you at this website. And there is something called the Creator Academy. As soon as you open up your YouTube channel and you create your first video, you are a YouTube creator. And so you can get tips on how to produce better videos, more persuasive videos, lighting tips, sound tips, and more at creatoracademy.youtube.com. If you haven't already downloaded the app called Primer from Google, you can find it at yourprimer.com. And the app goes through some very short, very succinct lessons on a lot of digital marketing topics that do include video marketing. And so different lessons come up throughout the week. And if it's not a lesson you're particularly interested in, you can just go past it. But if you come to the one that's on video production or how to market using video, it'll just go through step by steps, different things to learn. And it's a great thing to have with you during idle time and just pick up some great digital marketing tips for all media, not just video, but in particular for media as well. And that's called the Primer app, and you'll find it at yourprimer.com. It's available on both Google Play and the iPhone App Store. And of course, Google's brand new rebranded Skill Shop, where there's training on all of Google's professional tubes, including YouTube. And you can find that at g.co.skillshop. So what are our next steps? First step is to create your channel. Remember, you need a Google account. Remember that any email address can be a Google account, but a Gmail address is always a Google account. So create your channel. Take advantage of all the opportunities to customize it that we learned today. Then second, begin to create and upload your videos. The best video starts with a plan and a purpose. And then finally, explore these additional resources so that you continue to evolve your skill set as a video marketer. That's our presentation for today. If you do have a question on anything that we've covered, please use the question block that's in your GoToWebinar control panel. And if there are any questions, we'll see if we can answer them for you. At the moment, I don't see any questions. And the recorded webinar will be available. Thank you for the question. The recorded webinar will be available in the Grow with Google portal for Grow with Google partners. Thank you for that question. And I think that was the only question we have. Well, thank you everyone for joining us. It was a pleasure having you, and continue to do the very important business that you are doing in helping America's business get stronger during these trying times. Thank you for being a Grow with Google partner, and thank you for joining today's session. Bye-bye, everyone.